Business News Now. We're joined, of course, by Stephen Carroll. Morning to you, Stephen.
Hi, hello.
Going to start off here in France. Controversy over Google's tax affairs.
That's right. A source at the French Finance Ministry says they're seeking 1.6 billion euros in back taxes from the internet giant. It's the latest twist in an ongoing saga over Google's tax affairs here. Back in 2014, authorities in France issued Google with notice that it owed money in taxes. According to the Reuters news agency, that amount has been increasing since then, which might explain that figure of 1.6 billion that's being quoted. Google, for its part, says it complies with tax law in all of the countries that it operates in, but it's been coming under pressure in many European countries to pay more. The British authorities reached a settlement worth 170 million euros with Google last month, but that's widely been criticised for being too small. According to figures filed in 2014, Google France had revenues of 216 million euros, on which it paid taxes of just 5 million.
What's happening on the markets then, Stephen?
With shares in Europe generally opening up at the start of the trading day, being led by banks and car makers. Not such a great day, though, for Zodiac Aerospace. Their shares down more than 25% at the open. That's after they said they wouldn't meet their financial targets for the coming year. But you can still see Paris's CAC 40 still up by 1.8% at the open today. Over on the Asian markets, another dramatic day in China. Shares there falling sharply in trading, down by 6.4%. You can see a short time ago. More really another sign of the turmoil in the Chinese markets. The shares there being driven down mainly by smaller companies, fears again over the state of the Chinese economy influencing that, but this coming ahead of the meeting of G20 finance ministers that opens in Shanghai tomorrow. Of course, they'll be discussing issues like financial market turbulence. Lots for them to talk about.
Indeed. Well, let's move on to Argentina now, where people are coming up with new ways to deal with rising prices.
Your recent figures put inflation at Buenos Aires at nearly 27%. Argentinians have, of course, become used to rising prices, but economic policies implemented by the new president, Mauricio Macri, are expected to see that rate increase even further. That's left people to come up with their own solutions to find affordable products, as Nicholas Rushworth now reports.
Leandro hasn't chosen this butcher in the San Telmo district of Buenos Aires by accident. He's used information from his own website to come and find the cheapest beef available.
One butcher in this district is selling meat at 150 pesos a kilo, another at 129. This one is selling at 95 pesos a kilo, and that's the cheapest.
Most of the prices here are not being displayed to shoppers because of inflation. The greater cost, though, is not turning consumers off their beef.
People in Argentina are meat eaters. They're not going to give up on that, ever.
The online cheap meat map is a success. More than 3,700 butchers have been listed in just a couple of weeks.
We've learned how to live with higher prices after a series of crises. We've had no choice but to find ways to cope.
Argentina's new president vows to rein in inflation. One of the problems is concern over how reliable government statistics are. Journalist Francisco Hugen says Argentina's stats agency, INDEC, has been releasing erroneous inflation figures since it came under state control 8 years ago. The country's new leadership says it will make INDEC independent.
There is a real need to ensure this index is reliable. This needs to be done professionally. The goal has to be to regain the trust of Argentines and the rest of the world.
The imminent removal of state subsidies on electricity and gas will lead to bigger bills. The country's new leadership says reeling in inflation will take 2 years.
Some more of today's business headlines for you now. Shares in the nuclear firm Areva have been suspended after the company delayed publication of its annual results by 24 hours. Now they've put those back to allow details of a €1.1 billion bridging loan to be finalised. The firm's expected to post heavy losses for 2015. It lost €4.9 billion the previous year. Shares in the Japanese electronics firm Sharp have tumbled after reports that its board accepted a takeover offer from the major Apple contractor Foxconn. Japanese media say that deal's worth almost $6 billion. It would be the biggest ever foreign takeover of a Japanese consumer electronics group. And Apple's said to be working on ways to strengthen encryption on its iCloud service. The Financial Times says the upgrade would make it impossible for the company to comply with requests for data from police or intelligence services. This comes, of course, as Apple's under pressure from American authorities to unlock the iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino attackers.
Well, staying with the FBI, Stephen, they've uncovered a massive email scam, haven't they, involving chief executives?
Just proving that these sort of scams can target anyone. The FBI says it's seen a sharp increase in what's called CEO fraud. 12,000 victims annually it now counts. The scam involves someone making a fake email account for the chief executive of a company, which then tells an employee to send money to an overseas bank account. The average loss in these cases is $120,000, but the FBI says that some firms have lost as much as 90 million as a result. In just the past 6 months, the FBI has counted that 800 million euros has been lost by this, which means that if you get an email from your boss asking you to transfer money, maybe just double check first.
I would. I'd be amazed if I was falling for that anyway. My goodness. Well, my bosses know not to ask me for any money, so that's that dealt with. Thanks very much, Stephen Carroll with the Business News.